Grow, Grogu, Grogu, grow, Grogu, Grogu, grow, Grogu, Grogu, grow, Grogu, Grogu. Hello my friends and welcome back to Player Display. This time around we are going to be building everybody's favorite green infant, the child or Grogu. He says as if there's a number of recognizable green children running around out there. This of course is the model kit from Bandai, which I've very much been looking forward to, and the big reason why is because if you have been keeping up with Black Series, then you know they have solicited and I think have already released a Black Series Grogu, this time with the hover pram and a few little accessories and stuff like that. And I passed on that one straight away because I was just getting over the fact that you can have a figure as small as an Ewok sell for standard like $25 price, but when it comes to the child, and he's not even a figure, he's like a dot of plastic, and they're selling him for the full price of $25 for a Black Series figure. And I don't care how many accessories he comes with, that's way too much. As for this model kit, I love building model kits a lot more. And also, this is actually 2-in-1. This includes two versions of Grogu, being a 1/4 version, which is kind of the main focus of this kit, and then also a 1/12 version, which we will have a look at and see if it's a better stand-in for the Black Series version. I do actually have my Black Series version of Grogu right here, as you can see, and I, for some reason, wanted to paint him. I wouldn't be able to tell you why, but I kind of don't like that. There's also a little hair stuck in there from the paint, obviously. I don't love what I did with him, so I really want to get this model kit and just see how he stacks against him. I'm not sure if the detail will be better. Obviously, there's not going to be a whole lot of paint here. Yeah, I just wanted to see what this kit's all about. It's definitely going to be the fastest kit I've ever made. I'm not going to do it live on camera. We're just going to do some shots as I'm going through the process when I take this over to my building bench. But yeah, let's go ahead, and since we've never opened a model kit from Bandai before, let's start by looking at the box. So here we have, of course, the Mandalorian logo up at the top, then two nice shots of the child. Here he is, what I think, oh, he's not actually holding anything, but I thought maybe he was holding the shifter knob from the Razor Crest, which would have been cool. Then, of course, here he is again with the hover pram, and that's another reason why I really wanted this, because I've been in need of a good Season 1 hover pram. I have one from Season 2 that I kind of modified from the Retro Series 3.75-inch scale version, which just happened to scale fine for the 112-inch scale version, so that worked just fine. But I'm hoping this one will be a little bit more refined and just look a little bit more nice. Have Grogu's name down there, along with the two different scales that he comes in, since, again, this is a 2-pack. We're going to have to stretch out a little bit here. I suspect both ends are the same. We have the same artwork on that side, and then we have it again on this side, this time covered by a big old warning sticker. On the top, we have a very nice product shot of the figures, although I am concerned about the really nice flesh tone that is shown here. As great as it looks, the one thing that I am not good at when it comes to customizing is organic, fleshy textures, so I'm hoping that the decals will be able to help us out, or maybe even perhaps if there are details pre-printed on the mold, which I doubt, but that would be nice to see. Then you also have a size comparison between him and the Din Djarin model kit, which I also have, so I'll bring him out when we are done with the build. Off to the side, we have the two versions of Grogu once again, so you have a better idea of what is contained inside the box, or rather the components that will yield these figurines over here. And then you can see you also have a frog option for the 1/4 figure, and then you can also see a closed option for the hover pram. And then here's a little one a little bit closer up, and he looks really good. Again, it's really just a matter of what colors are they using and what will it take when it comes to customizing to get him to that caliber. On the back, as usual, for any Bandai model kit, nothing at all. So let's go ahead and unstrap this guy. So the top strap is the vertical one, so just go ahead and slide that off. Now that we have the straps off, let's go ahead and lift up the lid, which is one of the funnest parts of opening these model kits. And let's just look at each packet one by one. So I know the bags are quite crinkly, so I'll try and be quiet here. But here we have what looks like the really massive tan components for the 1/4 Grogu. I kind of wish that he was 1/6, so that way he could scale well with the, obviously, the 1/6 scale figures we have. Like, how many people have a 1/4 scale collection running, right? Next layer we have is we've got some instructions instructions. Is this it, really? Oh no, it's just some basic little micro details for people who haven't put a kit together before. So if you're new to this is actually probably the perfect starting kit for you. There's not a whole lot going on here. And then the last bag we have here has what looks like standard decals, not water decals. I've learned to go either way, but so I have no issues with that at all. And then looking underneath, unfortunately, the faces are not pre-printed, which would have been nice, especially because I know they did that already with the Return of the Jedi Darth Vader and also the New Hope Stormtrooper variants of Han and Luke. So it would have been really great if they went the extra mile and did that over here to the different Grogu faces. Of course, we have one very happy, cheery one there, and we have three others that are kind of blocked by the decals. And the last thing we have is the instruction manual, pretty much with the two shots that we've already had a hefty showing of already, then two in-movie shots at the bottom, and then you have a more definitive selection of images of the kit's offerings, looking really nice. And yeah, it does stink that this kit is not quite that muted pale green that we see in the shots here, so I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with it, but I'm just going to build it straight as is, no paint, and then you'll see what it looks like, assuming you just want to build it, and then you're going to be done there. Aside from the stickers, of course, we'll do those as well. And yeah, let's go over to the crafting bench and see who comes about. But before I begin, I just want to give you all a very quick little look at all the different sprues that we have. So here we have sprue A1, then we got A2, down here we have B, and then we have C. That's not how you alphabet. And then we have a little decal sheet, just one. It is the standard decals, or not water decals or anything. I can confirm that now with them out of there. So anyways, now we got everything out of the little baggies, let's get started. Actually, looking at the instructions, there's not a whole lot of steps left, so, Grogu, do you want to take it from here? Alright, go for it, little dude. Alright, so here are both children, built straight out of the box with no modifications whatsoever, except for decals, and then a little bit of Gundam marker on this guy's eyes. We'll talk about that when we get there. And overall, the set is pretty good. Again, I think it's a very good starting kit for people who haven't gotten their feet wet in the Bandai model kit community, but for those who prefer the more advanced kits, this might not be the best fit for them. It's very easy to build, but also once it's finished, it's definitely going to require a lot of sprucing up to get it where you want it to be. But that being said, overall, I'm really happy with this set. I think it's a lot of fun, and let's go ahead and start with the big guy over here. So here is the 1/4 scale child with his default face, that little pout going on with those two big ears. So the area where I said that I use a little bit of Gundam marker was on the inside of the eyes. As you saw in the build, that basically it was two black pieces, and then on top of those little palettes you had to put on some stickers, and you can sort of make out there's a little bit of an iris going on, so that's what the sticker comes from. Then over that you put another piece of transparent plastic. So when I put the sticker on there, it got a little bit crinkly around the edges, so to hide that I used a little bit of the marker to kind of hide my mistakes a bit, and it seemed like it worked pretty well. The only stickers that applied up here other than the eyes or the ears, and it was a very odd experience. I mean, none of them came out great. I mean, the coloring's really nice, but the closer you get, the more crinkly you can tell it is. It is not a smooth transition at all. It's pretty good on the outside of the ears, but as you move into the canal, it doesn't really know where it wants to go, so be wary of that. Again, that might be an area where, if you're more advanced with model kits, unlike me, you might opt for an airbrush or something I've never tried. But basically, what I did with these stickers, I found it best to kind of line it up with the corner of the outside of the ear and then kind of press it across and then a little bit up. Like you could see, I have a little bit of excess sticker kind of coming up around this lip of the ear. So the stickers aren't perfect, but from a distance, I mean, it sells it really good. You wouldn't be able to tell it was a sticker or a separate part of the figure, so not the worst thing. Could definitely be better though. Going down to the torso, I mean, we've seen the child before. The merch is everywhere now, but here we have him in his clothing that has never changed throughout 3 seasons of Mando and several episodes of Boba. So I'm wondering if it's ever been cleaned before. But anyways, you got the nice collar, you got the cloth kind of sinking down, making him look kind of like a stuffed animal, which he basically is. Let's be real here. And then you also get those cuffs, once again, the same texture on the wrists. They actually came from the same sprue as the collar piece, so it makes perfect sense. And when you get up close, you can see there is a nice texture here to make it look a little bit more, I guess, ruffly than everything else. Not a whole lot of texture work on the main clothing. I mean, you can kind of see a seam line here, and then as we saw in the last episode we just saw, not really a spoiler, he can be unzipped right here, so we know that now, which is pretty cool. On the back you get a little bit more details, you get another groove, and yeah, I mean, overall, it's a very nice figure, but of course, the paint is really going to bring this guy out a little bit more. I'm not too sure how I'm going to go about it, or if I'm going to bother at all, because honestly, from distance, he looks pretty cool as a standalone kind of piece. He's good. I like him. Not too bad. As for the accessories department with this 1/4 scale figure, not a whole ton, but you kind of saw them in the build. We first have a more cheery looking face, a little haunting. I mean, one thing you definitely want to do is paint up the teeth. The next up we have a force focusing face, or maybe he's extremely angry. It could go either way. And then lastly, we have his frog-eating face. No decals for the frog whatsoever, so you'd have to paint that on your own. I'm a little apprehensive about that because, of all colors, it's hardest to paint on top of black because you need several layers for it to really show up, so I'm going to think on that one. We also get an alternate pair of ears, and these are more droopy, so when he's, I guess, learned a sad story or something like that, then you can drop those on. And the way that you remove the face is, it's probably actually better to pop off the head, and you effectively, you see there's a big old seam line right there. You just get your fingers around the top and bottom of the face, pop it off, and you have those big old Furby eyes. You take any face of your choice. Let's go with the cheery face and slot that right on. And of course, it's the same eyes for all the figures. The eyes stay inside, pop the face on, and it looks like it's its own solid piece. So the integration looks totally seamless. I like that a lot. As for the ears, you can swap those out. The drooping ears don't really match with this particular expression, but you can get those on, and they look a little bit... Wait a minute. 1 second. Let me interchange them. Oh, my mistake. The ears we already had on were the droopy ones. So as you can see, those are the more pricky ones, and then you have the more droopy ones. I guess I prefer the more droopy, but I guess if you have one and the other, you can almost look like he's listening, or you just heard his name Grogu come from Mando for the first time in that really adorable scene. So, but... yeah, so these are the up ears and the other ones are the droop ears. I went ahead and slotted on his frog-eating face for the articulation segment. And honestly, even without any paint at all, this is still a good-looking figure. This might be enough for you. But anyhow, not a whole ton to speak of. I mean, there never really is with any version of Grogu. You have this much down. It's the same for all of them, really. Like, even without the frog, like, we can even pop that out. Oop. I guess he's just kind of screaming or something. Jeez, that's chilling, man. And see, he crunches that but much forward. Not a ton back because of the collar piece. Just get a little bit of tilt. He's got a good amount of swivel. Actually, if you take this out, you can sort of see there's an extended dumbbell, so you can actually pop that on a little bit more loosely to get some more range, or you can push it all the way down so it's nice and flush and a little more stable. Let's get the frog back in there. I kind of hate what we did there. And then all we get now is then just arms and then pretty much nothing on the feet. So the arms, you see there's a big old hinge right there. Oops, that's something I might want to glue in right there. Again, a lot of tweaks that you'll need to do when you're done with the basic build, but they come up quite far. They go down, they do 360 swivel. Then as for the wrists, you have a ball joint, so they can go pretty much wherever you want. So if you want him using the Force while eating a snack. You can do that. On the feet, which are funnily enough not noticeable at all when you put the figure down. In fact, they have absolutely nothing to do with their articulation. They're totally traffic coned by the garments, but they are all on a ball. They're both on a ball joint, so you can tilt them if you like. You can push them forward, you can push them back. It's all well and good. I mean, nice little extra detail. Another thing I did want to mention that I noticed when I was building them is the feet actually aren't feet. It's kind of just 3 toes, kind of like Deception, like we talked about in that Gremlin tutorial we did. And now here is perhaps everyone's greatest point of interest, being the 1/12 scale figure, which is the 6-inch scale version that is compatible with your Black Series, your Mafex, SH Figuarts, and all of that. So this, of course, is the one I was hoping that would be the stand-in for the Grogu I already have from the Black Series, and honestly, hard to say. I mean, it's very good. The hover pram, again, it looks very basic without the paint and all that, but the decals they included are very nice. You could see that it's got the weathering on the orange and everything. Sculpted details are really nice, and it gives it those mechanical grooves and everything. I think one thing that you've already noticed by now is this guy ain't got no legs.
You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dane.
The details here are still very crisp. He'll need some color for sure. I might do a little bit of hash marks on the top of the head for some hair, I suppose, but other than that, I don't think there's a whole ton else I need to do. But yeah, for the eyes, it's just simply one black slot with 2 pegs coming out through the sockets pretty much, and that's all there is there. Nothing else too special when it comes to the face. And then you got some ears, nothing interchangeable at all, unlike the big one, which makes sense. This guy's really small. Would have been nice if they just had one kit with a whole bunch of different tiny little heads for this 1/12 version of him. Pretty much the exact same details we saw on the bigger version, just scaled down. The only noticeable difference, aside from the fact that it kind of ends at the legs and it just gets cut off by a little ball joint there, is the cuffs around the wrists are not separate pieces, and as a result they do not match the color of the collar. So I guess that's one thing I do. I probably repaint them both so they match and they're a little more accurate. Maybe get the clothing a little bit of a wash. We, of course, have the hover pram, which looks excellent, although there's definitely not a whole lot going on the inside by way of color, but the sculpt is all there. I like how you have the padding in there. It looks very cozy, and of course you have that big old ball peg jutting out in order to support the child, and then at the bottom you have this transparent base that allows it to appear as though it's hovering. I definitely think it is way too short. I would have preferred if maybe we had 2 alternate versions. Maybe we could have this one. We have one that's a little bit higher, so you could be more, I guess, waist length with the Mandalorian. We'll look at that kit version of him in a minute. But yeah, to put the kid back in there, I guess whenever you articulate him, you want to pose him first. I mean, you can do that now. I mean, swivel in the head, a little forward, a little back, and pretty much no tilt at all. But the arms can do their swivel. They can not really come out a whole ton, and then the hands swivel. They're on a little ball joint, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, you basically get the hands configured up here. You can have them cuffed around the edge of the pram, and then all you got to do is plug him in, and yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, again, just need more paint. I know I've said that a trillion times already, but overall, really good starting point for what can be your definitive Grogu. This guy also comes with one single accessory, being the covering for this pram, which I actually haven't tried out yet. So I guess if you wanted, you could just remove Grogu completely, but let's see if we can get him inside. So I think you'd have to tilt the head. Oh, well, we popped him out anyways. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to move the arms in a way that you can keep him in there while this thing's closed, but yeah, it looks like you got 2 little notches up there, and oh, you see there's kind of a slot right there at the edge, so you can go ahead, plug that in, and yeah, looks pretty good. It still has that nice egg shape. If you ignore this, then it just looks like it's his pram just kind of perusing around Tatooine or wherever you like. Now I quickly grabbed a 1/6 scale figure. This is Garandan from the 2000s. Not the most updated figure or anything, but he's pretty much a foot tall, as most 1/6 scale figures are. And of course, since this Grogu is 1/4, he is definitely too big. I mean, maybe when he grows up he is this size, I don't know, and he looks exactly the same, just scaled up. But yeah, if you're looking for a cheaper alternative for a 1/6 scale Grogu that is not Hot Toys or Sideshow, then best that you keep looking. But of course, I think we're all primarily interested in how the 12th version of Grogu scales with the other figures that we've seen across various lines, and he's the right size. He looks pretty good. So here he is with the Mafex IG-11 with another Grogu in the little pouch there. We also have the Bandai model kit version of Mandalorian over there, or Din Djarin, whatever you like to call them. They both have a number of names, interestingly enough, and they scale just fine. Again, I wish this were a little higher, maybe up to about like lower chest level or something like that, but he should definitely be a little bit higher. I don't know why he'd be this low, but still it is the right proportions. I mean, get him right up there. That would be better, I think. So I'll probably wind up making a custom stand for him or something like that. And then also, based on the episode that I just watched today, here he is with the armor, since, of course, they've had a few interactions by this point. Unfortunately, I do not have Babu Frick on me right now to compare him with, but we still have a whole bunch of other little dudes. So over here we have the original Black Series child who we just looked at, and let's bring these guys up nice, close, and personal so we can have a good gauge at them. Let me zoom in a little bit there. And I don't know, tough call. I mean, obviously Black Series wins in the paint department, even though there wasn't a whole ton they had to do. Like, they did a little bit of hash marks for the hair, and of course they already did the eyes and the ears for you. But I think mold-wise and proportion-wise, the model kit does a better job. But between these two and I think the SH Figuarts standalone version of him and the Mafex one that we got with IG-11, I still think we haven't yet gotten the definitive 1/12 child. So, I don't know. At this point, it's kind of a pick and choose. They all have strengths and weaknesses. But personally, I think I'm preferring the model kit one, even though he is pretty much a statue. He can't move a whole ton in there. I mean, you can get the head swiveling and the arms move a tad, even though they're hard to get to, and he has no feet. But visually, I think he's the best one. This guy now, he kind of looks like a little vegetable. I don't know. As for some other comparisons, over here we have some the Porgs, then we have a Bogling, then over here we have Salacious B. Crumb, and then, of course, as per usual, we have Pilf Muck Muck. Whoa, Grogu's back off! He's not a toy! Sorry, I like this arrangement, but anyways, not a bad set overall. For a person who's never done a model kit before, I think this is a very good starting point for them. But for those of you who are more advanced with kits, and you know what to expect from Bandai, this is somewhat of a letdown, especially considering how you've seen them do printing and their own pre-painting before. Again, being on that Vader, Han, and Luke. But still, I mean, it's a very good platform, especially if you love painting organic creatures. I mean, over here, of course, we have my Din Djarin. I'm very good with armored characters, but I am not good with, like, flesh tones. So that's something that I'm going to need to think about. Maybe I'll have to look up some tutorials. If you have any comments or tips on how to spruce up these guys a little bit, maybe things you've tried out or you just want us to try out and see how it goes, drop it in the comments so we can improve these ourselves. I mean, all the tips the better to make these better, but still, I really love both of them. They're a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do with them, and they're both excellent for their respective scales. I mean, again, the 1/4 Grogu, I kind of think of him as kind of a standalone piece, kind of keeps separate from the overall collection. As for the 1/12, I think he's fine. He just needs to be a little higher. I want to weather the pram a little bit, and then also maybe do a little bit on his clothing and something on the hair, perhaps. But that's about it. I mean, once he's high enough, you won't see that he doesn't have feet as much, so that won't be as big of a deal anymore. But yeah, other than that, really like the set. Fun build, took me about 45 minutes, I'd say, minus the time it took to take all the shots for that building sequence. But aside from that, pretty cool. I had a blast. Lots of fun. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed, then please, as per usual, be sure to like, comment,
and subscribe.
Or suffer the little children. Rock on, and I will see you all later. What I do whenever I get kits like this is I always have a little tin box, so whenever I finish building a kit, I go through each runner and I actually clip out good lengths of it, and they're really good just to keep around as fodder for, I don't know, like melee weapons, figure stands, just really good for different details. I actually made, I recently got the Diamond Select Rocketeer, who did not come with a firearm, but he did come with a trigger hand, so I actually managed to use a Bandai sprue piece to create a pistol for him. So that's an idea of something that you could do. Poetically enough, here I am in a Baby Yoda blanket, so I think we're just right for this review right now.